Milwaukee calls out your humble host for sowing division within his fair community, and then, of course, doesn't allow anyone to reply to him. Typical. That was my weekend. How was yours? Hopefully fun, exciting. It's now over, though, and we are back at it with another busy week of broadcast excellence, or at the very least, and let's face it, far more likely broadcast competence. We will explain why the mayor of Milwaukee was calling out the Dan O'Donnell Show by name on X, formerly known as Twitter, later on this hour, as we present to you a deep dive into the mean streets of Milwaukee, meaner than ever before. Not even focusing on the issue of street crime, but rather reckless driving and drunk driving and police chases, all of which were major issues over the weekend. The tragic death of two Marquette University lacrosse players in a drunk driving crash, as well as a high-speed chase following a carjacking that reaches speeds of 130 miles an hour you simply will not believe, or maybe if you pay attention to how little thugs care in this city about law enforcement, what this particular one said to the officers who attempted to pull him over. We have got a jam-packed Monday show. If you would like to join it, give us a call. Shoot us a text on the adventknows.com talk and text line, 414-799-1130. You can also reach us toll-free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com. We are on all social media channels at Dan O'Donnell Show, X, Facebook, Instagram. We're even on LinkedIn, streaming live on all of them right now via the DanoCam, as well as our YouTube channel. Please be sure to subscribe, follow, like, thumbs up, heart, whatever it is, to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. In the 4 o'clock hour, two stories dominated this weekend's headlines, but only one made actual headlines. There was a brutal murder on a city bus in Charlotte, North Carolina, that killed an innocent Ukrainian refugee. There were zero mentions of it across all major national channels. Meanwhile, the Phillies Karen dominated not just social media, but also traditional media. But did everyone pick on the wrong villain? We'll get into that probably at the end of the 4 o'clock hour. 5 o'clock hour, we will discuss the Green Bay Packers' big win in their season opener against the Detroit Lions at Lambeau Field. Also, why were there so many blue jerseys in the friendly confines? Well, it has to do with season ticket holders no longer living in Wisconsin or not caring enough to go to the games. One random person on social media, and I'll apologize in advance, I did not catch the handle, and I have been searching for this tweet in vain for a while now, I think has a very good solution. We'll get to that in the 5 o'clock hour. We begin, though, with a true tragedy in Milwaukee as we kick off an hour-long special deep dive into Milwaukee's meaner than ever streets. Two students, Noah Snyder, who is 20 years old, and Scott Michaud, who is 19, both varsity lacrosse players, died Friday in a drunk driving crash near 27th and St. Paul. 4 other people were hurt. A 41-year-old woman who has not yet been criminally charged, but who the Dan O'Donnell Show can identify through multiple sources as Amandria Brunner, 41. She was arrested at the scene, potential charges of homicide by intoxicated use of a motor vehicle. The Milwaukee County DA's office reviewing that charge. There would be 2 of them. Also 4 counts of causing injury by intoxicated use of a vehicle. She does not appear to have a criminal record. She shows up only in Wisconsin's Circuit Court Access System, WCCA, for civil matters. She does not appear to have any prior criminal record. She also does not appear to be here in this country illegally. This appears to be just a case of drunk driving. I don't know any of the details. Those will be released in the criminal complaint. But this was just the latest in a series of reckless, intoxicated, drugged driving incidents that have plagued this city for far too long. You might remember a couple of innocent recent college graduates were badly injured on Water Street when a driver lost control. The Milwaukee Police Department declined to prosecute or to seek criminal charges because the driver appeared to have some sort of medical emergency behind the wheel. He lost control of his vehicle. He was going at a high rate of speed into two recent graduates who are from, I believe, the Muskego, New Berlin area. They graduated from a state school. They were back celebrating at a party. A number of them decided to go downtown to Water Street. I thought the Milwaukee Police Department went way too quick in clearing that driver of any wrongdoing before toxicology results came back or anything like that. But this was a case that sort of highlighted just how dangerous it was to be on the streets of Milwaukee, even in supposedly safe areas such as downtown Water Street and the Marquette University campus. Even though Marquette is surrounded by relatively bad neighborhoods, especially to its west and to its north, it is often considered to be one of the safer areas in Milwaukee because there's such a high concentration of students. Marquette has its own police force, and the Milwaukee Police Department is very active in showing force, investigating crimes, that sort of thing. Typically, there is not a whole lot of crime committed on Marquette's campus. The issue, though, of reckless driving, out of control driving is one that sort of transcends all areas of the city and really the county. What happened on Friday night was a true tragedy, and this woman should go to prison for a very, very, very long time. Drunk and drugged driving is a major problem, as is distracted driving, particularly with drivers on their cell phones when they should be paying attention to the road. What we also saw this weekend is a bit more indicative of a problem that city leadership in Milwaukee and county prosecutors and the judiciary can get a handle on. A man from Milwaukee was criminally charged after prosecutors say he stole a vehicle from someone at gunpoint, then led police on a 16-mile chase with speeds topping 130 miles an hour on the last day of August. Eddie Holman McAtee is 30 years old. He's been charged with 4 felonies, all as a habitual criminal. The details from the criminal complaint are not shocking nor surprising, but what McAtee said to law enforcement officers who were investigating this chase is eye-opening. Police conducted a Mirandized interview of Holman McAtee, who said he got a ride from the victim, whom the defendant identified via photograph, when he saw 4 people with masks looking into the victim's vehicle. Holman McAtee said he believed those people would harm the victim, so he told the victim to drive away. Holman McAtee stated that after some time, the victim refused to drive him any further. Holman McAtee then grabbed the keys from the victim, but denied possessing a firearm at that time. Holman McAtee would later say the victim gave the defendant the keys by choice. It's usually what happens. You know, he was really, old Eddie, he was the hero of this. He was trying to, the real thugs were just outside. Of course, the victim said none of this happened. No, the guy carjacked me. This is the critical portion of this complaint. When asked about the pursuit, Holman McAtee said that officers did attempt to get behind him for a traffic stop. However, he said that he does not stop for police and that he has the right to drive at a high rate of speed. He also said he would never stop for police for any reason and that police have no right to stop him. He blamed the officers for being reckless in public and said that the officers' pursuit of him was dangerous. He stated that he only stopped by intentionally driving over stop sticks because his girlfriend asked him to. Say this for Eddie Holman McAtee. He does not lack for creativity in his excuse making. It is interesting that he mentions his girlfriend because he was actually out on $250 bond out of the Oshkosh area for a domestic violence disorderly conduct issue on August 22nd. Now, this happened on August 31st. So he's down in Milwaukee after allegedly beating up the girlfriend. He's out on $250 bond, and he decides to carjack somebody with the girlfriend. I mean, it was my wife and my anniversary. It was our 16th anniversary on Friday. And I guess I haven't really mentioned this yet because we were kind of surprising the rest of the family. We didn't go out. We did not go out for our anniversary because we just got a puppy. We got a little teddy bear puppy. His name is Buddy, and he is the apple of all of our eyes. That's why I was actually off the Friday before Labor Day, because we were going to pick Buddy up from the breeder. I'll post a couple of pictures on social media. I know everybody wants to see the new puppy, but we wanted to surprise everybody, so we didn't go out. We were home with the dog, so I didn't tell you folks on the air about, the new addition to our family. We finally got my dad, who is the last one to meet Buddy over the weekend. So now I can tell you, yes, there is a new member of the O'Donnell family. And yes, for those asking, we are going to incorporate him, I think, into our annual Halloween costume, which people love seeing. But we didn't do anything. I think I should have taken a cue from Eddie Holman McAtee and taken my wife out for a hot date of carjacking. This guy has for 10 years, even before he was actually old enough to commit felonies, he was adjudicated 10 years ago as a delinquent in possession of a firearm. He was sentenced to a year in prison. About a year after that, so right after he got out, 2016, he pleads guilty to possession of narcotics, felon in possession, bail jumping. He gets 3 years in prison, and he did appear to serve all of them. He gets, in 2022, hit with another of his favorite charge, being a felon in possession of a firearm, 12 months in the House of Correction with credit for 189 days time served. So I can't complain, folks, with any of those sentences. He actually got jail time. He actually got prison time for all of his bad acts until the most recent one. Allegedly beating up, and that's always what it is, folks. They can't prove exactly what happened because the girlfriend isn't talking. So they go domestic abuse is a modifier for the disorderly conduct charge. Just a couple of days earlier, he says, well, I'm free and clear. Why would he ever stop for the cops? There is nothing about this man's life that would suggest he would ever stop for the cops. He also sees cases like this one, not out of Milwaukee, but rather Racine. A woman who is charged with striking and killing a pedestrian last year 20-year-old Shamaya Anderson is now charged with making an illegal U-turn in the middle of traffic, losing control of her vehicle, crashing into a city bus on Wednesday, and injuring 11 people. Last December, Friday, December 6th, Anderson was charged with knowingly operating a motor vehicle without a valid license and a hit and run resulting in death. According to the criminal complaint, Racine police were dispatched to the area of Memorial Drive, south of State, at around 6:30. Reports of a man down, victim found lying in the roadway. He was taken to the hospital, died from his injuries. Family identified him as 44-year-old Dwayne Carr. Anderson was charged in January with Carr's death. She was released on $50,000 bond, $50,000 signature bond. Alice A. Rudebush, a court commissioner down in Racine, even though Anderson was charged with killing another human being, allowed her to just sign her name and go on her merry way. All of these stories, folks, come together to illustrate why things are so dangerous, yes, on roadways generally, but especially in the city of Milwaukee. Why is it that you got a guy saying, I'm never going to stop for police? I won't stop for police because he hasn't. He's a habitual criminal who is still out on the streets. He goes into prison, out of prison, and then he gets a break from law enforcers. He gets a break from the criminal justice system. He gets a break from somebody along the way, and that's all he needs to cement in his mind that the rules don't apply to him, that he can do anything he wants with impunity. Shamaya Anderson down in Racine learned that lesson last February. She struck and killed a man and then left the scene, and she's out to cause more car crashes. Oh, well, she was ordered not to get behind the wheel and not to commit more crimes. Well, we saw what good that does. None. At the root of all of this is a complete lack of fear of any sort of meaningful consequences. Now, all of this is coming to a head at the exact same time the city of Milwaukee is trying to crack down on street takeovers, where entire groups of thugs will shut down the streets and do burnouts, do donuts, do illegal street races, show off their tricked out cars. And we can't figure out how exactly to crack down on this. We can't figure out how to stop this. When the reality is, if we just enforce the laws on the books, if we just have even somewhat reasonable prosecutions and reasonable criminal sentences, we will take care of the crimes that we can take care of. Law enforcement is not predictive by nature. This is not Minority Report. There's no such thing as pre-crime. There's always going to be somebody, like the woman who got drunk, Amandrea Brunner, got behind the wheel and killed two people. That doesn't excuse her. That doesn't absolve her from blame. She's not a habitual criminal. She's not someone you can look at and predict and say, okay, this person is probably going to go out and commit more crimes. We probably, when we get them, should keep them locked up and reinforce the idea that if you continue to commit crimes, you are going to go right back into prison, right back into jail, and we are going to have less mercy than ever before. The guy who carjacked somebody along with the fiance he just beat up and said he's not going to stop for any cops, he just got the lesson. I'm out $250. I can beat up whatever girlfriend I want. And 9 days later, he's carjacking somebody with her. Amandrea Brunner is one of those crimes that does happen. Somebody gets drunk, and unfortunately, the unthinkable happens. There is no way to predict that. There is no way to stop that. I mean, you can take away cars. Interestingly enough, I don't hear a single liberal saying that we should ban either alcohol or automobiles following this senseless death of innocent young men. But we understand that that sort of behavior is abhorrent. It's criminal. It should be dealt with in the most extreme manner possible by the law. It should affect change. It should finally, I think, get us to a place where Wisconsin can become the 50th state to criminalize first offense drunk driving, regardless of what the Tavern League thinks about it. But the other two cases are far more preventable, are far more solvable if we actually have the stones to want to solve them. We will get into some of the statistics about the mean streets of Milwaukee when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns just 3 minutes from now.
Our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
September 19th and 20th at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. Streaming live only on Hulu.
Limited tickets still available at AXS.com.
Get yours while you still can.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
Living with everyday pain is like having a voice that always says, no, you can't do that. No, you better sit this one out. It's no way to live. So if pain is affecting you, see how Relief Factor can help get you back to life on your terms. One where you say yes a lot more. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor's unique formula of natural ingredients does not just mask pain, it helps reduce or eliminate it for good. Whether it's your back, neck, joints, or muscles, Relief Factor can help you, as it has for so many others. So call 1-800-4RELIEF and give Relief Factor's 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day to get your life back. Just go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF and see how you can say yes to more of everything you want.
When it comes to selling a home, it can be hard to know who you can trust. I'm Tom Detlich with Grandview Homes. We've spent 15 years helping families move forward with integrity at the heart of everything we do. After all, this isn't just a house we're talking about. It's where memories were made and irreplaceable moments occurred. Our reputation is built on doing what we promise. No surprises, just an honest offer to buy your home. Get your no-obligation offer at GrandviewHomes.com today. GrandviewHomes.com.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond. From walk-in closets to entertainment centers, our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
For superior carpet cleaning, hire a company with over 75 years of experience that will get the job done right the first time. Always clean, always on time. Edelman.
Edelman Carpet, Furniture, and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Drunk, drugged, and reckless driving are massive problems all across Wisconsin and America for that matter. But in Milwaukee in particular, these are big, big issues. Last year, there were 82 traffic deaths in Milwaukee County. 63 of those were in the city of Milwaukee. Since 2019, fatal crashes per year have increased by 34%. Total crashes, though, have declined by 14%. What does this indicate? Crashes are becoming more severe as drivers are increasing their speeds. Reckless driving is getting worse. These aren't head-on crashes that people survive. Those have declined. The ones where people are like the carjacking suspect who go 130 miles an hour and then blame the cops, because of course he blamed the cops. They created a dangerous situation. The guy's name was, I've already forgot it. This is sort of a strategy by me. I don't want to give these people unnecessary attention. His name is Eddie Holman McAtee. He said he never stops for the police for any reason. He never would. The police have no right to stop him. And he blamed the officers for being reckless in public, and their pursuit of him was dangerous. You know who he sounded like exactly? Former Milwaukee Police Chief Ed Flynn. At least with that last part. In 2010, Flynn instituted the no pursuit policy because he said it was reckless and officers were contributing to dangerous, unsafe streets. They're contributing to reckless driving crashes because these people are just taking off at high rates of speed. And all the officers need to do is to check the license plate and then come and arrest the perps later. Well, unfortunately, all those cars were stolen. There's no way to go back to those owners because the owners have already reported the cars as stolen. Here's the big reason why traffic fatalities in streets are getting less safe. The no pursuit policy was a big one. Traffic fatalities in Milwaukee County from 2002 to 2022 increased by 113.5%. Was this part of a broader nationwide or statewide trend? It was not. During that same period, traffic fatalities across Wisconsin declined, but they increased by 113% in Milwaukee County. Why? Milwaukee Police Department in 2022 also issued its fewest citations in 5 years. 1 in 3 violations, according to the police department's own data, resulted in a warning. CourtWatch MKE also found this past January that when those cases of reckless driving or drunk or drugged driving actually do result in criminal charges, in 69% of the reckless driving cases that go before judges, and remember, relatively few of them do, but in 69% of those cases, judges issue more lenient sentences than prosecutors recommend. And the Milwaukee District Attorney's Office is notorious for not seeking stringent sentences. So traffic fatalities increase exponentially over the past 20 years. As traffic citations go down, there are fewer officers on the streets to enforce traffic laws. There's less of a willingness to pull over drivers as things are getting much more dangerous for police officers out there. And there's a sense by law enforcement officers that even when they do issue citations, even when they do make arrests for the most extreme forms of reckless driving, they're not resulting in stringent sentences. Now, while all of this is going on, people driving recklessly and dangerously in their own cars, we have also seen a veritable epidemic of car thefts. Last year, Milwaukee reported 6,376 auto vehicle thefts. 6,376. There were 366 days last year. It's a leap year. That's 17 cars stolen in the city of Milwaukee per day. Per day. Carjackings also increased right along with vehicle thefts. Vehicle thefts are smash and steer. Often Hyundais and Kias. Everybody who's been in Milwaukee has known about this for a long time. Do you know what the city of Milwaukee's response was? They actually sued the automakers for making the cars too easy to steal, which I likened to suing the makers of bikinis or, say, Victoria's Secret because rape levels have increased. We're not going at the actual problem. We're just sort of blaming something the victim did. When even car owners who drive Hyundais and Kias are just don't even bother taking your car into the city of Milwaukee. You know you've got a city that has lost control. There were 513 carjackings. Now, this is different than a vehicle theft. This is not just smashing open the window and using a USB drive to start up the Kia. This is pointing a gun in somebody's face and taking their gun or taking their car from them. Once again, 366 days. There was more than almost 1.5 carjackings per day in the city of Milwaukee. Per day. That is an exponential increase from 2019. Just like every other type of especially violent crime has just exploded in the post-George Floyd era of 2020, so too has reckless driving. And when anyone dares to point it out, they become the problem, not the leaders who allow the problem to persist. Which brings us to why Milwaukee's Mayor Cavalier Chevy Johnson was calling out little old me. We'll get to that story in 5 minutes here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hey, it's Vicki McKenna for Byrna. Crime continues to go up. Violence is happening all across America's finest cities, which means you need protection on you at all times. Byrna wants you to conceal everywhere you go. That's why they made the new compact launcher, touted as the world's smallest, less lethal pistol launcher. Byrna's compact launcher is about the same size as a smartphone. It's equipped with tear gas and kinetic, less than lethal ammunition, designed to incapacitate your attacker for up to 40 minutes. The compact launcher is perfect for those who want protection but can't or don't want to carry a firearm. And if you're sending your kid off to college this fall, they need one too. Byrna requires no background checks and can be shipped directly to your door. And Byrna is trusted by hundreds of police departments and government agencies worldwide. Byrna is also proudly American. Each unit is hand assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So visit Byrna.com today and find the right launcher for you. That's BYRNA.com.
Bob built a brand over the same 20 years INET has. I bought multiple properties over those years. Bob gets real estate like I never will.
In real estate, every brokerage does the same thing. MLS. Adding auction bidding to MLS, I knew if INET branded it, told our story, home sellers would understand and accept this real estate revolutionizing platform.
You can be the best in your industry like Redefined Realty is. Even revolutionize your industry like Redefined Realty has with auction. Yet, it's your story that sells.
You can't tell your story as well as INET Creative Genius will tell your story.
Real Estate for Winners is exactly what Redefined Realty and auction has always been.
Steven knocked our brand and marketing out of the park.
Selling a home? If you don't use Redefine's MLS and auction platform, you'll leave closing with less money than you would have. Tragic and that simple.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. INET is improving marketing for winners.
INETJustWeb.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Real Estate for Winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
At First Weber, our agents have the experience to make your real estate journey a success. They'll help you navigate the complexities of today's market with confidence. And they don't just work hard, they work overtime to earn your trust. Because at First Weber, we believe trust is the first step in any successful relationship. First Weber, where trust comes first.
I'm Dan Voss from Cut and Go. Ugly and depressing and trees killed off by emerald ash, oak wilt, and Dutch elm disease are dangerous for friends and loved ones, even a potential liability. Slowly rotting, left-standing hardwood trees can weigh tens of thousands of pounds. Even seemingly smaller branches can weigh tens, even hundreds of pounds. With Cut and Go, there is no reason to risk injury or property damage. Live trees in precarious placement for an arborist to remove over homes, garages, commercial buildings, luxury landscapes are easily and safely laid on the ground by Cut and Go's NCCER crane-operated certified remote control automobile mounted articulating crane grapple saw operators. You can save big money and stock up on firewood by having Cut and Go put your trees on the ground for you to clean up or have a bonfire or split firewood. Or we can take it all with us when we leave. A Tons of Trees movement. cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. Once again, that's cutandgotrees.com.
There are only a handful of carpet cleaning companies in the country who guarantee results, and we're one of them. It's no wonder why we're Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman. When starting a new home project, the first step is the hardest to take. Hi, Colleen here with Tri-County Contracting. And with Tri-County Contracting, the first step is super easy. Go to tricountycontractingwi.com. You can fill out a short form requesting a free estimate. Amanda will give you a call and schedule a no-pressure appointment with you. Whether it's roofing, siding, windows, or all of the above, we have you covered. If you are looking for an even faster roof price, we also have our instant roof quote button. Name, address, and email address, and you have your price on the spot. Easy first step. Then, all the steps after that, we'll take care of those for you. Getting you an easy-to-read, clear proposal quickly comes next. Then we can help you pick colors using our showroom or project map on our website. We pull the permits, we take care of materials and disposal. Our trained and specialized crews and project managers take care of all the install and cleanup. For you, it's as easy as one step, and that step is easy. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute. An American Idol executive and her husband were gunned down in their own home. Friends of Robin Kay and her husband, Thomas DeLuca, called for a welfare check Monday afternoon, having not heard from them in days. Officers entered the home and found the couple dead with gunshot wounds. Days earlier, on July 10th, police were called to the home after a neighbor saw somebody jumping the couple's fence. Officers say they couldn't enter the property, so they flew a chopper and saw no signs of forced entry at the time. But now, police say 22-year-old Raymond Budarian was burglarizing the home that day, and when the couple came home, they confronted him, and he allegedly killed them. Budarian was previously arrested last year, charged with battery and other crimes, but the charges were dropped when a judge said he was not competent to stand trial. Kay was an award-winning music supervisor who worked on American Idol for at least 15 seasons. There's more on the story at foxnews.com or subscribe to the Fox True Crime Podcast. I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show on Friday. As a result of this show's reporting on the fact that the Milwaukee Police Department was forced to redeploy officers who are assigned to its street takeover unit right before there was a rash of 20 street takeovers on Labor Day weekend. Milwaukee's Mayor Cavalier Johnson said he knew exactly how we were going to stop street takeovers. The head of the Milwaukee Police Association, the officers union, Alex Ayala, came out earlier in the week and said that he was considering sending a letter to President Trump asking Trump to deploy the National Guard to help keep the peace, to help have checkpoints, to have secure areas downtown, sort of like the Republican National Convention, to take over or to stop street takeovers from ever starting. Do you know what Mayor Chevy said was the real way that you partner with the feds? He doesn't want to see the National Guard deployed and abused. He said, we can partner with the federal government on things like providing affordable housing to stop street takeovers.
We got opportunities to work with the federal government to make sure that folks have access to housing, right, to curb some of this behavior. We got opportunities to work with the federal government to make sure that young people are headed in the right direction in life so they don't participate in these things. I would love to participate with the federal government on things like that where they make sense.
Okay. I posted that to X on Friday, right before I spent a good amount of time criticizing the mayor's rather impotent response to street takeovers. He quote tweeted my tweet, meaning he highlighted it and then wrote this. Last I checked, President Trump still oversees the ATF, FBI, and U.S. Marshals. Milwaukee has partnered with them before, and we're ready to do it again to take criminals off the street. If you played my full remarks instead of clipping them in your constant attempts to sow division within our community, your audience would hear exactly that. He then locked down that post, preventing anyone from replying to it or commenting on it. That is the only time he has done that in recent memory. Mayor Johnson, what exactly are you so scared about from a radio host who can only sow division? Now, he did in that press conference say, look, we already partner with the Trump federal government, ATF, U.S. Marshals, that sort of thing. Here is when he said that.
This city has many years of history in terms of collaborating with the federal government on public safety measures, things that I'm totally open to continuing to do. We've worked with the federal government on task forces with the ATF, with the FBI, with the U.S. Marshals, along with the police and the sheriff's office and other law enforcement agencies to take bad guys, take criminals off the street. I would love to see more of that activity happen in Milwaukee. I'm completely open to that.
Okay, does that have anything to do with the specific issue of street takeovers? It does not. Does the ATF enforce local traffic laws? It most certainly does not. Now, granted, there were some fireworks lit off on Labor Day weekend as part of the street takeover there, so maybe that's what he was talking to. When he specifically referenced what we can do with the federal government to curb the behaviors, he said this.
We get opportunities to work with the federal government to make sure that folks have access to housing, right, to curb some of this behavior. We got opportunities to work with the federal government to make sure that young people are headed in the right direction in life so they don't participate in these things. I would love to participate with the federal government on things like that where they make sense.
Would U.S. Marshals be involved in any investigation into street takeovers? They would not. With the FBI, it would not. With the ATF, save for the one guy lighting off fireworks while his buddies were doing burnouts, it would not. In other words, I played the exact proper context for federal partnership in stopping this specific behavior. And I would have pointed that out on X had Mayor Chevy Johnson allowed anyone to comment on his post. So I guess I'll do the next best thing by telling a 50,000 watt radio station's audience, the biggest audience audience in Wisconsin and one of the biggest audiences in the entire country, just how dishonest the mayor is. Now, we've got to step aside for a break, but as you could imagine, I do have more to say about this. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to go anywhere. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
Vehicle fire cleanup continuing in the southbound lanes of the Rock Freeway at Calhoun. It's blocking the right lane. Southbound 4145 at Hampton. You got a crash blocking the right shoulder in the construction delay. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Thrivent.
At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than money. It's a way to support the people, causes, and community you love. Because the most important thing isn't what you're planning for, it's who. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, which really is your best decision after a collision. I've been trusting my vehicles with Mander for years, and I've referred dozens of family members and friends there. All of them say the exact same thing as Mander customer Adam, who left this 5-star review. Your car will be in great hands here. Brian and Crystal took amazing care of my BMW M4. I had dents and scratches from a tree branch falling on my car, and they made sure that the car was taken care of. Everyone at Mander was professional and timely. I hope I don't need their services anytime soon, but if I do, I'll be back. Mander has locations across the greater Milwaukee and Waukesha area, so getting to one is easy and convenient. And starting your repair is just as easy and even more convenient. All you need to do is head online to mandercollision.com.
America's #1 app for radio is iHeart. Live radio, trusted DJs, breaking news, live play-by-play, plus the station you're listening to right now. Anytime, anywhere. Join the millions who already have it. Open the free iHeart Radio app today. The #1 app for radio.
Warshawski trial attorney Frank Crivello here.
Folks, I'm Victor Harding. Frank is selected Best Lawyers 2024 Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year.
More impressive is Victor Harding named Product Liability Attorney of the Year again for 2024.
It may sound boastful to mention these prestigious awards.
It's not boastful considering if you or someone you love is injured, you need to know 2 attorneys from the same personal injury firm being chosen by other lawyers and judges for these caliber of awards is very rare.
Heaven forbid you ever need an injury claim made on your behalf. If you do, the quality of your attorney and law firm will have a greater impact on the outcome than even the facts of your case.
Former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, and even insurance adjusters,
often our adversaries,
refer their family and friends to Warshawski because they know Warshawski will achieve maximum compensation.
Injured? It is about the money.
Warshawski.com.
That's Warshawski.com.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson. The Falls and New Berlin. Additives, chemicals, and toxins in your diet can miswire the way your genes express themselves. Food is critical for health. Increased energy, better sleep, reversing chronic disease. A healthier, happier, pain-free you is simple. Schedule your free Total Health consult. Holistic health coaches will guide you to a healthier, happier, truly you. Seed oils, the #1 source of calories in American diets, were developed as fuel in industrial lubricants. Seed oils cause dozens of chronic illnesses. Big Healthcare solution to nutritional-related illness is their same solution to all health-related problems. Drugs that also alter the way your genes express themselves, leaving root causes, making you increasingly sick over time. What they never tell is eliminate seed oils from your diet, and cutting back on sugar will immediately improve your health. It's true. Total Health finds root causes of sickness, including nutritional deficiencies, then helps you, the whole complete you, achieve wellness. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
Bikers need protection, not just from other drivers, but unfortunately from insurance companies too. We've been fighting for injured bikers and their families for more than 30 years. Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
Save big money on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Menards has a huge selection of concrete and mortar mixes. Our concrete products are great for a variety of applications, including pouring a walkway, setting a post, or even installing stone veneer. View our entire selection of concrete mixes and supplies in-store and on Menards.com. Plus, check out the weekly flyer for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Are you
tired of being tired? Go to adventknows.com.
The Mark Belling Late Afternoon Show is now the Mark Belling Podcast, and it's always on 24/7. I'm on the iHeart app and all the other big podcast platforms. Standing up for Milwaukee and the world, the Mark Belling Podcast.
The Mark Belling Podcast is presented by Uline Shipping and Industrial Supplies. Ship same day for fast delivery. Visit uline.com. Also supported by Charisma Customs. You can get the Mark Belling Podcast right now at iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Make me crazy.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Time now to name the unhinged liberal of the day here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. It is the Los Costa Heights Elementary School in California, which made a 5th grade boy talk about gender transitioning with his assigned kindergarten buddy. The boy's name, Shay Encinas, who President Trump invited to the Bible Museum today to talk about this.
Hi, I'm Shay Encinas. I've been a Christian my whole life, and Jesus means everything to me. When I was in 5th grade, my school forced me to teach my kindergarten buddy about changing his gender using a book called My Shadow is Pink. The book said you can choose your gender based on feelings instead of how God made us. I knew this was not right, but I was afraid of getting in trouble. After my family spoke up, the school treated us badly, and kids started bullying me and my brother because of our faith. And the school did nothing to stop it. It hurt a lot, but I kept trusting God. I believe kids like me should be able to live our faith at school without being forced to go against what we believe. I hope no other family has to go through what mine did. Thank you.
As you could imagine, the family is suing the crap out of the school district, the Los Costa Heights Elementary School. Your unhinged liberals of the day. More from that event coming up in the Daily Trump Date right at the start of the 4 o'clock news. Right now, we bring in Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex Wealth Management. Dave, horrible jobs numbers out Friday. What do you make of those?
Yeah, for sure. We saw a bad jobs report. In fact, we haven't seen something this bad since COVID, and unemployment rates ticked up. But Dan, this is a situation where bad news is good news. Right now, there is a nearly 90% chance that the Fed will now lower rates next week, a quarter point, followed by an 80% chance that they'll do so in October as well. So lower rates means a lot to individuals. Borrowing rates are down. Job reports are part of the stock market, of course, does better when interest rates are down. So all of this will come into play. So let's watch not only the Fed meeting next week, but the report afterwards and how the market reacts to that. Of course, all of this has an effect on people's portfolios. Know what you own, why you own it, and how much you're paying for it.
And you can do that at annexwealth.com. Do you think, Dave, there's any chance that we get a 50 basis point cut next week?
It's about a 10% chance at the moment that they could hit it with a bazooka and lower it by 50 basis points, but it's an unlikely outcome.
Yeah, I think I saw that over the weekend too. 10 to 12% chance of that happening. I tend to agree. Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex Wealth Management. Again, the website, annexwealth.com. Coming up after the top of the hour, President Trump did speak at the National Bible Museum, and a horrific murder in Charlotte, North Carolina, being absolutely ignored. A total blackout by the media. Why? The answer will absolutely not surprise you. You are listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Conservative thought, not just talk.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. The U.S. Supreme Court has stayed restrictions on President Trump's sweeping immigration operations in Los Angeles, at least for now.
The U.S. Supreme Court in a 6-3 decision clearing the way for federal agents to continue conducting operations targeting illegal immigrants in L.A., lifting a temporary restraining order from a judge who ruled in July. The immigration action violated the Constitution, so immigration raids will resume as the case still plays out on its merits. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
And new revelations are coming out over President Biden's alleged improper use of the auto pen. Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
Top officials from the Biden administration criticized and were concerned with how President Biden's team issued pardons during his final days in the White House. That, according to a report by Axios, which says after the pardon of the former president's son, Hunter, there was a mad dash to find people to pardon who weren't vetted by the Department of Justice. Axios also citing emails where staff asked repeatedly for confirmation of President Biden's approval before using the auto pen to commute sentences or sign executive orders.
The 4 o'clock business report brought to you by the Good Feet store. The Dow up today 114 points. The NASDAQ gained 100 while the S&P rose 9. Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard. It's the Vikings and Bears tonight on Monday Night Football. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Clear skies this evening with temperatures dropping into the 50s overnight. Partly sunny on Tuesday with a high of 75. Then a chance for sprinkles or light rain in the evening. Mid to upper 70s expected for the remainder of the week. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by First Choice Heating and Cooling. Prices are up, but your comfort doesn't have to wait. At First Choice Heating and Cooling, pay $0 now and 0 interest for 12 months. Lock in today's price and stay cool all summer. Milwaukee's heat's no joke. Call First Choice now.
Living with everyday pain is like having a voice that always says, no, you can't do that. No, you better sit this one out. It's no way to live. So if pain is affecting you, see how Relief Factor can help get you back to life on your terms. One where you say yes a lot more. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor's unique formula of natural ingredients does not just mask pain, it helps reduce or eliminate it for good. Whether it's your back, neck, joints, or muscles, Relief Factor can help you, as it has for so many others. So call 1-800-4RELIEF and give Relief Factor's 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day to get your life back. Just go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. And see how you can say yes to more of everything you want.
We're the Libby family
at Do It Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
If your bathroom needs work, we're the place to go.
Our people really know their stuff, and we install.
Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do It Yourself.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve with Grieve Law. If you're charged with drunk driving, you're not just looking at a ticket. You're looking at a permanent mark on your record that can affect your career and your ability to rent a car or travel internationally, not to mention the classes you'll need to take or the ignition interlock device that you'll have to install. Your license will be revoked, and even with a work permit, you're one long meeting or traffic jam away from driving revoked and facing up to 1 year in jail. That's a lot more than just a ticket, and if you pay the ticket without a fight, you are agreeing to be on the hook for all of it. At Grieve Law, we believe one mistake shouldn't define your life. Our seasoned criminal defense attorneys focus on OWI cases with a track record of getting results. We examine your case, challenge field sobriety tests, scrutinize breathalyzer accuracy, and expose the weaknesses in the prosecution's case. If you have been arrested for an OWI, you're facing serious consequences. But with Grieve Law in your corner, you are far from facing them alone. Contact Grieve Law for your OWI defense. You are only guilty if you are convicted. GrieveLaw.com.
It's one of the hottest topics when it comes to finance and your money. The One Big Beautiful Bill. If you haven't read it, we don't blame you. It's 900 pages with 400 just for tax provisions. Not exactly light reading. You know who has read it? Annex Wealth Management. That's where Instant Insight webinars come in. They're designed to provide clarity for today's hot topics. Get up to speed fast. Check out the full Instant Insight schedule at annexwealth.com/events. Unbiased advice from a fee-only fiduciary. Find out more at annexwealth.com.
This time of year can be tough on a number of areas in your home. This is Dan O'Donnell, and if you're struggling with any electrical issues, I recommend the superheroes at Current Electric. Chuck Smith, a Brookfield Central grad, started Current Electric over 40 years ago. His mission was to serve our community with integrity and quality, and has done that at Current Electric. If you need something as small as an outlet or switch repair or a whole home rewiring, call on the superheroes from Current Electric. Go to callcurrent.com.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
News Talk 1130, WISN Milwaukee.
Hour number 2 of the Dan O'Donnell Show. Let's get right to it. If you want to join us, 414-799-1130 or 1-800-838-9476. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, on Facebook, on Instagram. We are streaming live on all of those, plus our YouTube channel. Join the conversation there, and please do like, subscribe, follow, thumbs up, heart, poop emoji if you really want to, our podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Trump just keeps winning.
It is a win for the administration.
It's also a big win for the United States.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
A couple of major wins in the United States Supreme Court for the Trump administration as we begin our daily Trump Day to look back at what happened in the White House and around Washington, D.C. today. The court, in a 6-3 decision, granted the administration's request to block a federal district judge ruling in L.A. that barred federal agents from conducting immigration stops in Los Angeles and Central California without reasonable suspicion. This allows those agents to proceed with immigration raids for deportation based on factors like race, language, occupation that overturns a lower court's order that found such actions likely violate the Fourth Amendment's protection against unreasonable searches and seizures. The court also allowed President Trump to fire a member of the Federal Trade Commission, granting a stay on a lower court ruling that had blocked this action. Meanwhile, amidst that first court ruling today, the Department of Homeland Security has announced that it is launching Operation Midway Blitz. This is an ICE enforcement action in Chicago in honor, ICE says, of Katie Abraham, who was killed in a drunk driving hit-and-run car wreck caused by a criminal illegal alien. Quote, this ICE operation will target the criminal illegal aliens who flocked to Chicago and Illinois because they knew Governor J.B. Pritzker and his sanctuary policies would protect them and allow them to roam free on American streets. President Trump and Secretary Kristi Noem stand with the victims of illegal alien crime, while Governor Pritzker stands with criminal illegal aliens. President Trump this morning spoke at the Museum of the Bible.
America has always been a nation that believes in the power of prayer, and we will never apologize for our faith, ever, ever, never, never. We will never surrender our God-given rights. We will defend our liberties, our values, our sovereignty, and we will defend our freedom. And with the help of amazing faith communities across the land, so many are represented with us today, we will truly make this the golden age of America.
Now, President Trump was at the museum to give it his family's Bible, which he used at both inaugurations. It'll be on permanent display there. He also announced that the Department of Education will soon issue new guidance protecting prayer in schools and invited faith leaders to pray for the nation as it prepares to mark 250 years next summer.
Next year, we will celebrate 250 years since that declaration was signed. mind as part of the grand. Well, this is really a commemoration like I think we're going to try and do a commemoration like nobody's ever seen before. But we've invited America's great faith communities to pray for our nation and for our people and for peace in the world. And it's going to be an amazing time. We're going to have an amazing time. We have the Olympics, we have the World Cup, and we have 250. Okay, the super centennial, as our man would say.
Seriously, though, summer of 2026 is going to be off the chain across the country. The Olympics are in Los Angeles. World Cup played at sites across America, Canada, Mexico. It's a joint bid by the three major North American nations. The president announced that 70 faith organizations have now joined in to participate in what's being called America Prays. Finally, West Point has canceled an award for actor Tom Hanks. The president announcing that where else? In a post on Truth Social, saying our great West Point, getting greater all the time, has smartly canceled the award ceremony for actor Tom Hanks. Important move. We don't need destructive woke recipients getting our cherished American awards. Hopefully the Academy Awards and other fake award shows will review their standards and practices in the name of fairness and justice. Watch their dead ratings surge. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your Daily Trump Date. Now, while he was at the Museum of the Bible today, the president did weigh in on the unprovoked stabbing attack in Charlotte, North Carolina of 23-year-old Irina Zarutska. Now, this happened on August 22nd, but surveillance footage from the Lynx Blue Line light rail was released on Friday night. And folks, it is so unspeakably graphic that you probably aren't going to be able to watch it anywhere. I happen to be on X at the wrong time when the full unedited video was first being published, and I'll admit I gasped in horror. The poor woman, who was a refugee from Ukraine coming to America to seek a better life, is seated right in front of a man identified as DeCarlos Brown, who had been arrested 14 different times since 2007, when he reached the age of 18 and adulthood. She is sitting in the aisle seat. He's sitting in the window. She's on her phone, minding her own business, out of nowhere. And I mean out of nowhere. This guy moves as quick as a wink, pulls a knife out of his jacket, and just starts stabbing her in the neck. Folks, I'm not trying to appeal to the prurient interest here or talk about, I've seen this and you probably haven't. I came of age in the news business during the era of beheadings by ISIS. I saw my fair share of beheadings, and they are exactly what you would think they would be. Let's just say there were often hacksaws involved. This was every bit as brutal. But it wasn't in Syria. It wasn't in some far-flung terrorist hellhole. It was in Charlotte, North Carolina. Committed by somebody who has himself committed the following crimes: felony larceny, robbery with a dangerous weapon, communicating threats, breaking and entering, assault on a family member, assault, injury to personal property, trespassing, domestic abuse, disorderly conduct, violations of welfare checks and referrals, misuse of the 9/11 emergency system, and trespassing. Some of these resulted in prison sentences, most did not. Brown was homeless. He was on the streets. He apparently was dealing with severe mental illness, possibly drug addiction as well. President Trump today, during his remarks at the National Bible Museum, weighed in on this.
I just give my love and hope to the family of the young woman who was stabbed this morning or last night in Charlotte by a madman, a lunatic. Just got up and started. It's right on the tape. It's not really watchable because it's so horrible, but just viciously stabbed. She's just sitting there. So they're evil people. We have to be able to handle that. If we don't handle that, we don't have a country.
Now, it's somewhat surprising that the president weighed in on this because there was a complete and universal blackout of this story in national media. No stories from the Associated Press, none from the New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, even Fox News, to my knowledge, did not run any stories about this even after the horrific surveillance footage was released. Why not? Does it have anything to do with the fact that DeCarlos Brown is black and his victim is white? Finally, today, the story is starting to break through from right-wing Twitter, and this is also a huge testimony to the power of Elon Musk purchasing Twitter, renaming it X, and restoring free speech. This story was everywhere on X, but nowhere else. Finally today, Axios.com, which is a very prominent, very well-read news website for movers and shakers in left-wing DC, wrote a story on the murder of poor Irina. Do you know what the focus was? The fact that MAGA influencers were trying to make it into a thing. This is a very popular genre of left-wing journalism known as Republicans Pounce. The issue, of course, isn't the soft-on-crime policies of Charlotte, North Carolina, and its left-wing mayor and district attorney and police chief and sheriff and judges. No. The issue is that Republicans noticed this and, of course, turned it into a racial thing. Today, a man who, when he hosted the ironically named CNN show Reliable Sources, was known as the media's janitor, constantly cleaning up after left-wing spills, Brian Stelter was back on his own network today, ripping said MAGA influencers for daring to notice a particularly gruesome execution on America's streets.
Really, over the weekend, Elon Musk, Charlie Kirk, other Trump-aligned figures succeeded in making this senseless death a symbol of big city crime. We heard President Trump asked about it yesterday when he was heading home from New York City. He didn't seem to know much about it. He said he would get briefed, and then today, Trump did know all about it. That's exactly what has happened here. This story has trickled up from local news to social media and now to the president's attention, and it's being used, as you said, Brianna, as a political symbol, with MAGA media calling for more forceful punishments and more incarceration. I have to say, some of the replies to Musk, some of the comments around this story are baldly racist, stoking fear of African Americans because this man attacked a white woman. The open racism on sites like X today, it's eye-popping.
It's racist to point out that a black man killed a white woman. Nobody is saying that all black men on light rail systems sitting behind a white woman will knife them to death, but that one black man did kill one white woman. And the issue has not been, well, it's the race here. It's the fact that all black men are criminals. No, it's the fact that this particular black man is clearly a habitual criminal who is arrested 14 times in the past 18 years, and not a damn thing was done to keep somebody who survived a freaking war in Ukraine, but couldn't survive getting on a light rail system in a Democrat-controlled American city. This has nothing to do with race. That's yet another deflection by the media's janitor. It has everything to do with soft on crime Democrat policies that we have been talking about from Charlotte to Milwaukee to Los Angeles to Chicago that are not keeping people safe. Do you know who the most likely victim would have been of DeCarlos Brown? Certainly not a white Ukrainian refugee. It would have been another black person. What we know about crime is that it is almost always intra-racial. Black victim, black perpetrator. White victim, white perpetrator. Crimes like this are very rare, in fact, at least statistically speaking. The fact that Stelter and everyone else is immediately going to race is missing the point, but I think intentional obfuscation. It has nothing to do with who is committing crimes, although if we are being honest with ourselves, black males between the ages of 13 and 40 commit such a statistically disproportionate number of crimes that it is impossible to ignore. When you are less than 6% of the population in the United States, but are committing upwards of 50% of the homicides, we have a very serious problem. And refusing to talk about it is doing nothing but protecting the most evil people on earth and putting the black lives that you claim to care so much about and that matter so much at unnecessary risk. We will dive more deeply into this when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns in just 3 minutes.
The Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
94 eastbound going to be heavy from 84th over to 27th. Westbound delays from the Marquette to Hawley. Southbound 4145 jammed. Good Hope down to Capitol. Earlier crash at Hampton is cleared. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage.
Homeowners, have you been waiting to renovate or pay down debt? Mortgage rates have been dropping, so it may be time to tap into your home's equity. Get started at rocketmortgage.com. Call 800-863-4332 for cost information and conditions. Rocket Mortgage LLC. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
September 19th and 20th at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. Streaming live only on Hulu.
Limited tickets still available at AXS.com.
Get yours while you still can.
Lenovo and the iHeartRadio Music Festival. Tech that hits different. Can your gear keep up with the beat? Lenovo PCs are built for creators, dreamers, and fans who don't hit pause. Visit Lenovo.com for the latest in AI PCs and game-changing tech.
The only agent I trust here in Milwaukee is Justin Hoffman with RE/MAX Lakeside. Now, thanks for joining me today. So what's the biggest challenge that sellers face when they're getting a divorce?
Well, Sean, unfortunately, divorce is tough and we deal with it a lot in our business. We have to make sure that these people feel like they're being treated fairly. They want to both feel like they're part of the deal. They don't want one side getting more insight than the other. And we have solutions for these types of issues.
How do you help them with that?
We can help them with that with a quick, clean cash instant offer. Or we make sure we set all the precedent up front so they know we're going to be dealing with them directly, equally, all the way through the transaction.
All right. Thanks for keeping us up to date. If I needed to sell a home in Milwaukee, I'd call Justin Hoffman. Just go to wihomeeval.com. That's wihomeeval.com. Or just Google Team Hoffman and check out over 700 five-star reviews.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at mandercollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
almost a total media blackout of surveillance video showing one of the most horrific murders ever captured by surveillance videos on the light rail system in Charlotte, North Carolina on August 22nd. A Ukrainian refugee, a 23-year-old woman by the name of Irina Zarutska, stabbed to death by an American man named DeCarlos Brown. He happens to be black, although, as a number of people have pointed out in not surveillance video, but video taken by bystanders on that train, he can actually be heard saying, "I got that white girl, I got that white girl," after he stabs her to death. Truly sickening stuff. Now, is it possible this was a race-related crime? Yes, absolutely it is. In fact, him saying that tends to indicate that race was the primary motive, because it's completely random. There is no indication that Irina ever saw DeCarlos Brown. He was right behind her. He was sitting on the window seat in this train. There are two seats, one aisle, one window. She's in the aisle seat. Right behind her is Brown. He's in the window seat. He grabs a concealed knife or other sharp object and just begins stabbing her in the throat. Now, people have been texting me on the adventnews.com talk and text line, which, by the way, is 414-799-1130. Dan, it has nothing to do with the fact that it was so graphic. The media replayed endlessly the George Floyd death. Folks, I'm telling you, as somebody who saw this one, it is so graphic. There's blood everywhere. You cannot show it in the media. Yes, you are seeing in George Floyd someone die. Incidentally, he did not die of strangulation. He did not die of suffocation. He had a massive heart attack, due in part to the fact that he had a massive level of fentanyl in his system. And very pointedly, the Hennepin County medical examiner said the cause and manner of death for George Floyd was not homicide. That's as an aside. However, there are people attempting to infuse race into this. It has less to do with race than it has to do with Democrat crime prevention policy. On the same day that finally we start to get national news media outlets forced to talk about this, because President Trump mentioned it at his appearance at the National Bible Museum this morning, Zohran Mamdani, the 33-year-old socialist who wants to be the next mayor of New York City and is very likely going to be the next mayor of New York City, was talking to the Columbia School of Journalism about his crime prevention plans. Does this sound familiar, Wisconsinites? He wants to drastically reduce the jail population.
The jail population of Rikers has increased since Eric Adams has come into office by more than 1,000 additional incarcerated New Yorkers. And what is quite staggering to me is that we know that we can reduce that jail population to less than 4,000. I mean, Vital City had an article about a number of different proposals that could reduce it to 3,700.
I ask whether this sounds familiar because one gubernatorial candidate, Anthony Evers, back in 2018 was trying to get elected, promising to reduce Wisconsin's prison population by 50%. Has crime gone down since then or exploded? 2 years into his term, Evers actually did get his wish. COVID-19 threw open the prison doors, and wouldn't you know it, we had a whole lot more crime, primarily because people in positions of power as a result of George Floyd's death wanted to decriminalize crime. I've termed this the George Floyd effect. All across the country, it wasn't just that police officers were being vilified, it's that their departments were being defunded. At the same time, prosecutors were no longer prosecuting crimes. They were simply allowing the cases that got referred to them to be dropped without any charges. And even those cases that were charged inevitably resulted in a sweetheart plea deal and no prison time whatsoever. We have effectively gotten away from every single thing that reversed a 30-year increase in America's crime rate. Even California, back in the mid-1990s, had the infamous 3 strikes, you're out policy. It worked. The federal crime bill, authored by one Senator Joseph R. Biden, dramatically decreased crime because states followed suit and there was a concerted effort to enforce America's laws. Even Democrats got behind it, leading the way, New York City, employing the broken windows theory of policing, prosecuting everything, treating every crime seriously to send the message that no crime would be tolerated. Mamdani wants to take New York even farther back. He was asked about software the New York Police Department uses to identify gang members. There's a database of all known and suspected gang members in New York. Mamdani wants to get rid of it.
If city council legislation to abolish the NYPD gang database were to pass, would you support and sign that?
I have supported that proposal. It's one I've supported because of the vast dragnet has meant the inclusion of New Yorkers on the basis of whether they go out late, photos they put on social media. There's no question that we have to take gangs extremely seriously. And yet I find that a database that includes New Yorkers on such bases is one that doesn't actually do exactly that.
Why not? Because it leads to stereotyping. If you have too many, say, black males showing up on the database or Hispanic males, we get a little nervous in polite socialist liberal society because, well, we don't want to be accused of racially stereotyping. It is this exact fear that led us down the dangerous path we're on, not just in New York City, but in Milwaukee and Charlotte and everywhere. Because the left wing is so terrified of the reality, and it is a reality, that African American males between the ages of 13 and I'll say 40, 45, give or take, commit an overwhelming percentage of the violent crimes in this country. There is nothing racist about saying that. It is simply the truth. The more we have gotten away from acknowledging that truth and attempting to turn around that truth, the more we have seen crime increase. Oftentimes, government, as I said in the last hour, is powerless to predict when and where crimes will occur. But we sure as hell know who is going to commit the crimes based on whether or not they have committed past crimes. This guy in Charlotte, DeCarlos Brown, had 14 prior arrests in 18 years. He's living on the streets. He's almost certainly addicted to drugs. He's got severe mental illness. He's a ticking time bomb. Instead of releasing him from jail as soon as he's picked up, because left-wingers want to feel better about just how good and socially forward-thinking they are, they put him right back onto the streets to endanger not just some random Ukrainian refugee who happened to be in his way, but the broader black community who has to live with monsters like this. That, to me, is the saddest and most infuriating irony of all of this. That black people are statistically most likely to be the victims of crime, and that crime is overwhelmingly likely to be committed by other black people. When you don't accept that reality, when you try to run from it, and you actually craft public policy around this basic notion, well, we can't look too racist, and if we arrest too many black men, that means we're racist. That's actually built into socialist thought, like Mamdani is preaching when it comes to criminal justice. In fact, this goes all the way back to a Dear Colleague letter that the Obama Department of Justice and Department of Education sent to schools, not law enforcement agencies, schools, saying if you have too many students of a particular race suspended or expelled for violating a particular policy, let's say you punch a teacher, it's an automatic expulsion. If a disproportionate number of black students violate that, punch teachers, and get expelled, the policy is demonstrated to be racist. It's called disparate impact theory. It is responsible for so much that is wrong with American law enforcement and jurisprudence. It's almost impossible to overstate. Overnight, suspensions and expulsions dropped to near zero, especially of students of color, thereby teaching students of all races that it was far easier to get away with the small, petty stuff that, relatively speaking, would get you a detention or suspended from school. Guess what happens when this message is received and internalized, and these kids are going home not to stable home environments where, believe you me, if one of my boys was expelled for punching a teacher, he would be punched way freaking harder than he could ever hit Mrs. Anderson, okay? He would be much more terrified of the consequences of his father. And this is to deny another reality in the black community, that quite simply, absentee fathers are the norm. These, forget about broken homes, the extreme dysfunction that young African Americans are coming out of with drug abuse, with narcotic abuse, with extreme mental illness that is just never treated. Never in any meaningful way putting kids into foster environments that will be far healthier for them. Because the power structure, oftentimes led by white liberals in the criminal justice and social welfare departments, are terrified of being labeled as racist. So we've allowed these problems to fester, all the while whistling past an ever-filling graveyard of the victims of horrible left-wing policy. This is why we call this show a tour de force of truth, ladies and gentlemen.
Dan O'Donnell will be right back.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
15 minutes northbound 4145 between the Zoo and Good Hope. Delays breaking after Capitol. Southbound delays down to Capitol as well. 20 to the Zoo interchange. Honda 894 southbound, add another 8 down to the Hale. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage.
Homeowners, have you been waiting to renovate or pay down debt? Mortgage rates have been dropping, so it may be time to tap into your home's equity. Get started at rocketmortgage.com. Call 800-863-4332 for cost information and conditions. Rocket Mortgage, LLC. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
The real estate industry insiders know who to call when it's time to sell their home. This is Chris Leby with Lake Country Flat Fee. We've built up a solid track record of helping out our fellow real estate colleagues over the years. Former realtors, mortgage professionals, real estate attorneys. Being in the business, they know our reputation and they're confident we'll deliver them results and savings. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
Aquatica, celebrating 24 years in business. Here's Dean Pepito.
Did you know that one of the most overlooked and affordable additions to your landscape is a beautiful waterfall, pond, or any type of water feature you can imagine? Visit Aquatica, the waterscape experts. Let Aquatica inspire your backyard lifestyle. Let us show you how special and unique your landscape can be. 414-520-POND. That's 414-520-7663. Or visit us at aquaticaponds.com for for more details.
Home is where it happens. The you had to be there stuff. The blinking you missed it stuff. The holiday mishaps. The first steps. The impromptu pillow forts. Your home is where the we'll always remember this stuff happens. That's why the local experts at True Stone Home Mortgage are here to make sure your home stuff can happen. Local experts, amazing options, and an on-time closing guarantee. It's true, because we're True Stone. Terms, conditions, and timing restrictions apply. Conventional purchase loans only. Visit truestone.org for details. Equal housing opportunity.
Hi, I'm Willa Voss. I'm 8 years old. Mom and Dad own Cut and Go Tree Service. Yes, they did name me after a tree. Our family loves this country and the freedom it provides. Every morning, I look forward to starting the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your mind. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. American patriots will enjoy a 5% discount for flying the American flag and mentioning this commercial when the Cut and Go remote control, automobile mounted, articulated crane, grapple saw operators are putting your dead trees on the ground or removing large branches that grew over something important. An all-American Tons of Trees movement, cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGOTREES.com.
It's 5 words no one wants to hear. You need a new roof. Oh boy, who do you call? How are you going to pay for it? Hi, it's Jay, and these are all questions that run through people's minds when they hear those 5 words. But if you pick up the phone and call Semperfi Roofing, your new roof will be the easiest, most hassle-free home improvement project you'll do. Semperfi has thousands of 5-star ratings for both customer service and high-quality installation. Plus, they offer a 50-year leak-free guarantee on every roof they install. 50 years. Also, since no one wants to pay these high interest rates, for a limited time, Semperfi is offering 5-year no-interest financing with minimum monthly payments for qualified buyers. So if you need, don't stress. Semperfi Roofing has got starts with a free 21-point roof inspection to assess the exact condition of your roof and what needs to be done next. Set up your inspection today. 262-600-2910. That's 600-2910. Or go online to semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Here's the tale of the daily Medfield. Same old pharmacy, same old bill, but those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings Wrangler rode in, cool as can be. Tap Good RX, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. Deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check Good RX. Good RX is not insurance.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Football
is back. And the season lives on iHeartRadio.
Off to the races.
After a wild first weekend of action.
Week 1 concludes tonight with Minnesota at Chicago on Monday Night Football.
Touchdown.
Explore the official NFL Podcast Network on the free iHeart app.
Plus, catch the live action on your local station.
Tipped and intercepted.
This is 24/7 coverage.
With everything you love about football.
Just open the iHeartRadio app
and search NFL to dive in.
WISN.
Big taxers, big spenders, political cronies, global warming alarmists, charlatans, liars, scam artists, and feeders at the public trough. The threats to your happiness are many, but that's where we can help. News Talk 1130 WISN. Our truth shall keep you free.
This is where sycophants and chills are shunned, and commitment to the unvarnished truth is sustained. Just one reason that this is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130, WISN.
Do you want the Democrat position on crime summed up in just 15 seconds, more perfectly and succinctly than I ever could? There is a reason, ladies and gentlemen, I believe Jasmine Crockett is the new AOC, because she says things that are so unconscionably stupid that they almost force your objective observer to become more conservative just by watching her. This was her on a recent podcast.
Law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crime, okay? That is what they're supposed to do. They are supposed to solve crimes, not necessarily prevent them from happening, per se.
So, part of what law enforcement is supposed to do is absolutely to prevent crimes from happening. Now, this isn't to say to predict and then arrest people, but through a show of visible force and through action where the word of said action gets out in the criminal community by dissuading behavior, yes, law enforcement absolutely does and can prevent crime. Just don't tell Milwaukee's Mayor Cavalier Johnson. He believes the only role that federal law enforcement should have, at least in his city, is to provide housing assistance.
We get opportunities to work with the federal government to make sure that folks have access to housing, right? To curb, some of this behavior. We got opportunities to work with the federal government to make sure that young people are headed in the right direction in life so they don't participate in these things. I would love to participate with the federal government on things like that where they make sense.
Now, I posted the video of Chevy saying just that to my X account, and it went semi-viral, I guess. I mean, nothing like, we've had tweets blow up 20, 25, 30,000 retweets and things like that. It is maybe, 1,000 times, seen a couple 100,000 times. Nothing huge. He took offense to this because he thought that I clipped out a relevant portion of him talking about how we can stop the street takeovers in Milwaukee, which are the most visible sign of lawlessness I think that you could imagine. When you've got thugs literally taking over streets so they can do donuts and burnouts without a care in the world about law enforcement, who is so overmatched in this city that they're effectively powerless to stop them. The head of the Milwaukee Police Union said, well, I would welcome President Trump sending the National Guard when things get out of control to do checkpoints or to provide backup to law enforcement officers if they get overwhelmed, not necessarily enforcing the law, but rather to provide protection for the law enforcement agents who might be going into active crime scenes overwhelmingly outnumbered. Chevy was mad because he said, well, there was another part of his remarks where he talked about President Trump being the head of the FBI, the ATF, and U.S. Marshals, and we partner with them all the time. And he said, quote, if you played my full remarks instead of clipping them in your constant attempts to sow division within our community, your audience would hear exactly that. Now, I would love to say I responded with an incredibly witty rejoinder to the mayor. I couldn't because he locked his replies. He never does that except when he's tweeting at me. The one man in Milwaukee Chevy Johnson fears, apparently, is your humble host. But what I said in the 3 o'clock hour is what I'll say again. What he was talking about was trying to prevent crime by getting more money to him and his cronies, which I will remind you went not towards Section 8 housing where it was supposed to, but rather to line the pockets of Willie Hines and his corrupt Milwaukee Housing Authority, which may or may not be under federal investigation right now for misappropriating federal funds. Mayor Chevy says, well, we just need more of that to curb this behavior. There is no role for the ATF or FBI or ICE or anybody unless there are a bunch of illegals taking over Milwaukee's streets. That's irrelevant. Yes, we know you partner with them because you essentially have to partner with them. I notice ICE was not in the list of organizations that Chevy said we partner with. Why do you suppose that is? Because, of course, they don't. When he was talking about what can actually prevent this behavior, he said more housing grants. Maybe the federal government can come in with some mentorship programs to show these young people that their lives don't have to revolve around taking over streets and doing burnouts in a tricked out Honda Civic. That's how liberals think. They truly don't believe that if you have a ton of police officers actually enforcing the law, and you've got prosecutors who are actually prosecuting violations of the law and judges actually sentencing people who violate the law to prison, that will send the message that crime is not tolerated, thereby preventing crime. They fundamentally do not believe that. At their very core, they believe that only more money in their pockets to distribute through their social welfare programs, which I will remind you are the single biggest sources of government fraud in the entire government at every single level. That is the way that we prevent crime, by touchy-feely nonsense controlled by us. The liberal mindset on crime in 15 seconds. Thank you very much, Jasmine Crockett.
The Dan O'Donnell Show is coming right back.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
Southbound on 43, heavy in pockets from Capitol down to the Marquette and on to 4394 down to the KK River. Northbound delays starting at the Marquette, clearing up north of Center. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rocket Mortgage.
Homeowners, have you been waiting to renovate or pay down debt? Mortgage rates have been dropping, so it may be time to tap into your home's equity. Get started at rocketmortgage.com. Call 800-863-4332 for cost information and conditions. Rocket Mortgage LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
You got to get to Built Right today. Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattresses. It is the best time to furnish your home locally. Built Right sale. They're $1 million off time. Shop the O'Donnell family shops. We just love our new Amish-made dining set. 4 generations, 97 years strong. Built Right has the most experienced team and the best selection of affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses in Wisconsin. Built Right's 45,000 square foot showroom has thousands of items in stock, plus 500 mattresses. Be ready for your holiday guests. You'll find hard to find USA-made, small scale, Amish-made, real solid furniture, flippable mattresses, and more. Free in-store design services too. Built Right always saves you money. Voted best place to shop and open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, they're closed to be with family. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right, 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Life can move fast, so when you want to sell your home, Grandview Homes will buy it on your schedule. We know your time is precious, and we won't waste it by giving you the runaround. Just a fair, guaranteed offer. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com today.
At Advent, nasal congestion and sinus infections can be solved with an in-office 20-minute procedure. Elsewhere, expect surgery.
Josh from Infinity here. The exterior remodeling industry is notorious for wild price disparities and hidden costs. Infinity has revolutionized the exterior remodeling experience. Our custom-built app is your window into our world of clear, accurate pricing.
MJ here. No more guesswork. No more unpleasant surprises. Every detail, all materials are clear for you to see. Absolute pricing transparency makes Infinity the most trusted roofing and exterior remodeling company in the Midwest.
We built Infinity on a foundation of integrity. More than installing roofs, siding, and windows, Infinity installs peace of mind, building lifelong relationships with our customers.
Infinity's proprietary app is an extension of our commitment, providing exact line item pricing, something unheard of in roofing and exterior remodeling.
Infinity's unmatched buying power saves you money. We pay less, you pay less. Infinity provides multiple budget options real time. Everything is at your fingertips, including financing options, before we leave your home.
Warranted, guaranteed quality. Installing peace of mind. InfinityRoofing.com.
Get a free furnace and a full home duct cleaning when you buy a heat pump system from Quality. They'll shake out to about half price.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric.
Do you have a written financial plan? Hi, I'm Aaron Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We have recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move to Creative Planning allows us to provide more comprehensive wealth management services to help with all aspects of your finances, including your investments, taxes, estate plan, and more. If you already have a plan or if you need to start planning, our fiduciary advisors can help. Visit creativeplanning.com to get started. That's creativeplanning.com.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
Thanks to you, thousands of teachers now have the tools they need to thrive, and their students do too.
I get up every single morning, and I can't wait to see their smiling faces coming through my door.
iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose, building brighter futures one classroom at a time.
As a teacher, I'm really trying to help them come to school every day and put their foot in the right direction of life.
And we're just getting started. Help keep the momentum going and nominate a teacher who's made a difference in your life at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
Men's wedding bands made from whiskey barrels and meteorites.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Marketing a modern business means finding and serving your customers 24/7 wherever they are. WISN broadcasts are a powerful platform, but there's so much more. WISN's online digital tools are completely customizable, so you can reach your ideal customer through the iHeart app or by using software that actually finds your customers at a specific location or event. These tools are precise, efficient, measurable marketing weapons that you need to use. Combine the power and cloud of WISN's broadcast and digital platforms right now. Go to newstalk1130.com, keyword digital.
No radio handy? No problem. Listen to WISN's live audio stream 24/7 via the web. Just click on the Listen Online tab at newstalk1130.com.
In the 5 o'clock hour, the official Dan O'Donnell Show recap of a big Packers season opening win and how to solve the problem of all of those out-of-state season ticket holders or the greedy season ticket holders who are not allowing any of the rest of us to have a chance at either the green or gold package and then turning around and selling the damn things to the opposing team's fans every week. I think we've got a pretty good solution to that. We will get to that and much more. But first, it is time now to name the unsung hero of the day. And this might be a first since we launched the Unsung Hero of the Day as sort of a companion piece to the Unhinged Liberal of the Day. Earlier this year, they both have to do with the exact same story. Our Unhinged Liberals of the Day today were the Los Costa Heights Elementary School administrators who forced a 5th grader by the name of Shay Encinas to teach his kindergarten buddy about how to change his gender. As part of that buddy program, he was forced to watch a read-aloud book, I forget what it's called, Pink Shadow or something, with his kindergarten buddy in May of last year. He is then required to participate in an activity where he drew the kindergartner's shadow using the color that represents him. This, according to a lawsuit filed by the Liberty First Institute. Today, Shay, who's now 12 years old, got up and told his story to the entire nation.
Hi, I'm Shay Encinas. I've been a Christian my whole life, and Jesus means everything to me. When I was in 5th grade, my school forced me to teach my kindergarten buddy about changing his gender using a book called My Shadow is Pink. The book said you can feelings and God made us. I knew this was not right, but I was afraid of getting in trouble. After my family spoke up, the school treated us badly, and kids started bullying me and my brother because of our faith. And the school did nothing to stop it. It hurt a lot, but I kept trusting God. I believe kids like me should be able to live our faith at school without being forced to go against what we believe. I hope no other family has to go through what mine did. Thank you.
No, thank you, Shay. Do you know what kind of stones it takes to stand up and talk about that, to realize that's wrong, report it as being wrong, and then to tell your story to the entire country? That is why young Shay Encinas is your unsung hero of the day. Dan O'Donnell Show, coming right back after the news.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Clay and Buck weekdays 11 to 2 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. Today marked the first day of classes on Marquette University's campus after the sudden deaths of 2 members of the school's lacrosse team last Friday.
Visual was in a vehicle that was struck on the driver's side and pinned into a post.
19-year-old Scott Michaud and 20-year-old Noah Schneider died near 27th and St. Paul after a vehicle they were in was struck by another vehicle driven by a 41-year-old woman. Desi Gonzalez was Schneider's former high school coach.
On the lacrosse field, he was a workhorse. He was probably the first one there and the last one to leave kind of deal. He's the kind of kid that you tell other kids about.
The 4 others injured in that crash have now all been released from the hospital. In Wisconsin, Congressman Brian Stiles calling for federal oversight of local transit agencies after reports of the Milwaukee County transit system losing out on $4 million in revenue just last year due to people not paying a fare to ride the bus.
That's not fair to the people that are actually doing the right thing, that are paying their way.
Style is urging to strengthen oversight of local transit agencies as part of the federal grant review process. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard. Brewers in Texas tonight to play the Rangers. First pitch, 7:05. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130, WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Mostly clear tonight. Temperatures dropping through the 60s this evening and settling in the low 50s overnight. Becoming partly sunny on Tuesday, mild with a high of 74. A few light showers possible Tuesday night. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
I'm Victor Harding, a true trial attorney at Warshevsky Law. You've heard our advertising for years. While it's been effective introducing Warshevsky to injured people in need of maximum judgments and settlements, most of our clients come from personal referral. Referrals from former clients grateful for the settlement or trial judgment Warshevsky won on their behalf. Thus, they're recommending us to friends and family. Referrals from people in the community, including other lawyers and judges who want to make sure their friends and family are taken care of. Still not sure? Ask around. Warshevsky is referred by Wisconsin law enforcement officers who've seen Warshevsky attorneys in action, desperate to make sure friends and family receive just compensation. Insurance adjusters, often our adversaries, refer their family members hurt in accidents. They know the work we do. They all refer Warshevsky because, big case or small, we can help. If someone you love is injured, please let them know, because at the end of their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
A Generac automatic standby generator that kicks right in when your power goes out is great peace of mind. Get a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac dealer, Generator Supercenter. Go to GeneratorSupercenterofLakeCountry.com.
Living with everyday pain is like having a voice that always says, no, you can't do that. No, you better sit this one out. It's no way to live. So if pain is affecting you, see how Relief Factor can help get you back to life on your terms. One where you say yes a lot more. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor's unique formula of natural ingredients does not just mask pain, it helps reduce or eliminate it for good. Whether it's your back, neck, joints, or muscles, Relief Factor can help you, as it has for so many others. So call 1-800-4RELIEF and give Relief Factor's 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day to get your life back. Just go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. And see how you can say yes to more of everything you want.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com. Passionate about what's right. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
The Jay Weber Show podcast is available 24/7 to fill any gaps in your hunger for entertainment. Just go to newstalk1130.com, click the podcast tab, and enjoy Jay Weber on demand.
Kowal Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. This is Tom Krieger with your afternoon business report. Major averages edged higher today with the NASDAQ hitting a record high as investors gear up for a data-heavy week. This week includes 2 critical readings on inflation, which should provide insight into the chances of a larger interest rate cut in September. Elsewhere, shares of EchoStar jumped 19% after the telecommunications company agreed to sell spectrum licenses to SpaceX for $17 billion. EchoStar will receive SpaceX shares as part of the deal. At the close, the Dow is up 114, S&P 500 up 13, and the NASDAQ up 98. From Creative Planning, I'm Tom Krieger.
Tonight, it is the Packers' 2 main division rivals. And yes, I know Detroit's up there too. Vikings and Bears opening night of Monday Night Football. The Packers do get a big win over the Lions. I'm calling that final 27-6. The Lions got a touchdown with about a minute left in the game. By that point, it was well in hand for the Pack. We'll talk about it coming up about a half hour from now. The biggest story in sports, though, wasn't from the NFL, Micah Parsons' Packers debut, or it wasn't from anything on the field. Rather, in the stands in Philadelphia, where a now memified woman snatched a home run ball away from a father who had raced over to catch it after it dropped into the stands off of Harrison Bader's bat on Friday night. The two can be seen on Ballpark's cameras, basically trying to grab for the ball. The woman who, if you were to think about your stereotypical Karen haircut, and for those who have been living under a rock over the past decade, a Karen is a white, often left-leaning, suburban 35 to about 55, 60-year-old woman who has the John and Kate +8 haircut and always demands to speak to the manager. You know the type. I know the type. Unfortunately, a very dear family friend is named Karen. 2 very dear family friends. In fact, one of them, who is the mom to one of my younger brothers, two of his best friends, a couple of twin boys. Nicest, kindest woman you could ever meet. The anti-Karen. In fact, both Karens that I know who are family friends, one on my side of the family, the other on my wife's side of the family, are about as far from the Karen stereotype as possible. I feel so bad for them that their name is synonymous with just terrible human beings. What would happen if, like, the Daniel, if you were just being a total Dan and it was like just being a child, I would be like, yeah, my name is DOD. I think I'd go by my initials if that happened. Sort of like the ODB, the late rapper. The Karen who has dyed blonde hair and then dark black roots underneath it. Those big, you just know the woman is, it's like Sally Jesse Raphael glasses, but they're not bright red. They're black. Wearing a Phillies jersey. After the man grabs the ball, not out of her hands, he doesn't steal it from her, at least not that the cameras could pick up. She's grabbing at it. He's grabbing at it. He gets it. He walks further down their section. It's very empty in Philadelphia. It's in the outfield bleachers. And he puts the ball in his young son's glove. And then in a beautiful moment, puts his arms around his son and has a hug, which is quickly interrupted by the Karen walking all the way over, screaming in his face until the man takes the ball out of his glove and gives it to the woman. Last night on local TV news, he and his children talked about the incident.
As soon as it cracked off the bat, it was starting to head our way a little bit. So I walked to my right, walked to my right, walked to my right, and I thought, oh crap, it's coming. And I walked down a couple seats and it fell and kind of bobbled between the two armrests. And I picked it up. And as I was pulling away, two other hands came, and I mean, I didn't really care at that point. I just walked away and held the ball up high and put it in Lincoln's glove, and was hoping he'd be on the Megatron TV or whatever, and then she showed up.
He gives when she shows up, and this is the only part of me that sides against this man. Even a little bit. He makes the most effeminate gesture with his arms as if he goes, ah! As she walks up like he's terrified. She screams in his face for like 5 seconds and he gives her the ball. I can't say I would have done that. Maybe he recognized they're probably all on camera. He knew that the consequences of getting into potentially a fist fight with this awful person would be way worse than just giving the ball. Story has a happy ending. Harrison Bader, the Phillies player who hit the ball, gave the boy the bat that he used to hit it, which is way cooler than the ball. Phillies team stadium events people came and gave him a swag bag full of stuff. He got to meet Bader after the game. And Marcus Lemonis, weirdly enough, was involved, saying he was going to give the family tickets to the World Series and a new RV he owns. Is it Camping World? Yeah, Camping World. Okay, because the kid didn't get a ball. That seems like a lot, but hey, Marcus is a nice guy, good dude. Awesome. Here's where I think we're going a little nuts as a society. All weekend long, the obsession has been not just to publicly shame this woman. What she did was positively Karen-esque. And there's a video from a couple of people who were at the game. One of them shows the woman screaming in the man's face, and she says exactly what you think she would say. You took the ball. You took it out of my hands. Give me the ball. That's my ball. There's another video, though, of afterwards, apparently the section sitting next to her booed her so loudly that she eventually left the stadium, you can see her getting out of her seat, getting in the face of some dude who is apparently jawing at her, and then appearing to flip off the entire section of fans before storming out. I get that there are societal consequences for the violation of society's norms. I guess I'm just a little squeamish when it comes to what everyone online has been attempting to do since. Dox her. They have been trying to figure out who she is, where she lives, what she does for a living, and get her fired from her job? Really? The only lesson that this has taught me this weekend is to never, ever, under any circumstances, attempt to get a baseball at a baseball game. Just don't duck. I will duck out of the way. I will pull my hat down over my face so I'm not even in the video if there is some sort of confrontation over a ball. This comes after some Polish CEO ripped a tennis player's hat out of a kid's hands at the U.S. Open? Come on. Are we really this obsessed with little tchotchkes? I get catching a home run ball is cool, but is it really the same if you don't catch it? If you just walk over and grab it, or it drops in front of you and you pick it up off the ground? I actually have a home run ball hit by Derek Jeter when I was at Yankee Stadium in like 1999, or maybe it was 2000. He was hitting it during batting practice, and we were at Monument Park, and it rolled over, and I grabbed it. I have no idea what happened to that ball. I'm assuming my mom got rid of it because it didn't have any sentimental value to her. I'm not denying that what the woman did was awful. I'm also not denying that the guy is a total sissy. Stand your ground, bro. Be like, no, you were too slow. It's the kid's ball. Get out of my face or I'm calling security. Or you just walk right over to an usher and say, hey, this woman is harassing me. Let them figure it out. Where I draw the line, however, and I want to know if I'm just kind of all wet on this. I truly do. I realize we haven't really taken a lot of calls or any on the Dan O'Donnell show lately, but I genuinely want your opinion. Is it okay to try to dox someone, just a random civilian, even if they do something kind of what we wouldn't want a civilized person to do? It's not like she randomly stabbed some woman on the light rail in Charlotte. That story got totally blacked out. The rest of the media going nuts, shaming this Karen. Do you think it's appropriate for her to be essentially identified and face professional and obviously personal consequences for a moment of poor judgment? 414-799-1130 is our adventnews.com talk and text line. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Producer Jeff is going to line up the calls as we take a slightly early break. We'll get to your calls. We'll get to your texts in just 3 minutes right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style.
The Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Westbound on 94, going to be heavy from 16th over to Hawley at 35th. You got a crash on the right shoulder. Eastbound delay starting at Highway 100 and continuing to pass the stadium. 894 southbound tight from the zoo down to Lincoln, and again from Beloit to the Hale. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lumber Liquidators. Now through Tuesday at Lumber Liquidators, get flash sale savings up to 60% off beautiful flooring for every room in your home. Visit one of their more than 200 locations nationwide or shop online at lumberliquidators.com today.
Our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
September 19th and 20th at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. Streaming live only on Hulu.
Limited tickets still available at AXS.com.
Get yours while you still can.
Escape to poolside paradise at MGM Resorts in Las Vegas. Sip on a refreshing cocktail. Lounge in a luxury cabana. Earn on nonstop fun with MGM Rewards. Book a sizzling summer escape today. Visit MGMRewards.com for details.
We know that the people of Milwaukee are hard workers, that they're tough. But even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. If you've been injured, call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
At First Weber, you can feel confident our agents will help you navigate the real estate market. With a deep understanding of the industry, they're committed to achieving the results you need. First Weber agents don't simply talk about success, they show it. They're dedicated to earning your confidence, not by what they say, but by what they do. First Weber, confidence comes first.
Hi, it's Roman Weniger at Five Corners announcing the biggest savings event ever. Get 1.9% financing for 72 months on new Ram truck, or get $13,000 off and 3.9% for 72 months. Drive a new Jeep Grand Cherokee and get $7,500 off with rebates and discounts. New Chrysler Pacifica, yes, $5,000 off at Five Corners. Take home the big savings today. Need your vehicle serviced right? You can count on our outstanding certified service technicians with 40 service bays. Drive into Fall Event at Five Corners Dodge, Chrysler Jeep and Ram truck, Highway 60 Cedarburg. Financing is still approved credit and subject to down payment. Incentives are on select models.
When it comes to selling a home, it can be hard to know who you can trust. At Grandview Homes, our reputation is built on doing what we promise. No surprises, just an honest offer to buy your home. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com today.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Judging by our texts on the adventknows.com talk and text line, opinions are split on whether or not it's fair game to dox the Phillies Karen who got in the face of an admittedly weak father who had found a home run ball at a Phillies game over the weekend. I say found, he didn't catch it. Neither of them did. He just happened to be quicker to it as it dropped into the seat in front of the woman. She can be seen on the stadium's video getting in his face and screaming at him for a couple of seconds until he takes the ball out of his son's glove and gives it to her. Let's start with Bill in Waukesha. Is it right to dox even obnoxious, awful people like her, Bill?
If I'm there with my kids and I got some crazy girl like that coming at me, take the ball. I don't want to be a part of it. It's yours.
So you would do exactly what the dad did?
Yes. I don't know if he's a single dad. I don't know his situation. I was, and I'm like, okay, if I got some crazy woman coming at me for a baseball, and the kid got a bat.
But at this point, he didn't know that the kid was going to get the bat. You're saying, though, you don't want to be a part of the controversy. And in fact, the kid, later in the interview the family did last night on local news in Philadelphia, the kid said, look, this was a no-win. I think they all knew that they were going to be on the Jumbotron, or as the dad put it, on the Megatron, which I thought was hilarious. You can tell the guy's not much of a sports fan. He doesn't look like the buffest fellow in the world, but what's he supposed to do? Pop her in the face? Then he's the bad guy. There's an old saying about Twitter/X. Every day on Twitter, there is a main character. And the goal is to never, ever, ever be it, because it means the entire website, and the media takes its cues from Twitter. you will be the villain for the entire country. This woman is now the villain for the entire country. Weirdly enough, not the dude in Charlotte who brutally stabbed an innocent woman to death. No. It would be racist for him to be the internet's bad guy all weekend. But the white Karen who took the baseball, let's do everything we can to ruin her life. And I'm not saying that she deserves no consequences, but come on, she's supposed to be fired from her job. The entire world is supposed to know her identity, where she lives. Seems a tad extreme. Jason in Mequon says, absolutely not. Dox her. What's going on, Jason?
Not much. Happy Monday afternoon, Dan.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Yeah, go ahead and dox. Thank you very much. But if the shoe is on the other foot, left does it to our side all the time. So why not? Sure, a game.
What if you're presuming she's a left winger. I mean, she's in Philadelphia. She's got the Karen haircut and she sort of fits the profile. What if it turned out that she was the president of the Republican Women of Greater Philadelphia?
I highly doubt it, but okay, yeah, then cut her some slack a little bit.
Wait, Jason.
Don't throw her some.
Jason, you're saying cut her some slack because she's quote unquote on our side, but knowing nothing about her, based just on her haircut and glasses, and the fact that she just looks the type, like a hen-pecking lib. And I'll admit, there's like a 75-80% chance that she's a liberal Democrat. But you're saying just because she's on the quote-unquote opposite side, you want to make her life a living hell? I'm thinking, Jason, I love you, but maybe your position isn't based as much on morals and philosophy as it is on politics. How about Rick in Greenfield? You're up next on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
This is a good topic. This is really good.
Thank you.
Well, I'm actually laughing, but in a way, there are some stuff that's in there that's kind of serious. I think it's serious. But anyway, if I may, if you go back to when the ball dropped down, he goes over, and that's the guy. And if you look at the video, as the lady's going down, she's going down with her arm, and this guy is right next to her, and he's going down to try to get the ball at the same time. And it seems like they're kind of blocking each other. And then the guy, he goes down, he takes the ball off of the floor, and then he goes back and he puts the ball in. Being nice about this guy. I mean, I'm not a beta male. I'm sorry, I'm not. And I would respectfully say, no, I got the ball and it stays with my son, and that's it. But he didn't do that, and he looked extremely weak.
But she was not blameless at all in this, just because he gave into her. And I think the reason, Rick, the reason that this is resonating so much is this woman is like every hectoring ex-wife and every liberal cry bully that America has had to deal with, demanding that you use the proper pronouns for the past 5 years. So I get it. I do get where you're coming from. By the way, I think I misspoke. I said the game was in Philadelphia. It was actually in Miami. It was the Marlins that came over and gave her all that stuff. And I guess I'm just presuming that she's from Philadelphia, because really, why else would you be a Phillies fan? Red in Kenosha, you're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hey, Dan.
Hey.
Been a long time.
Absolutely. What's going on, sir?
On the topic, anything in society usually goes overboard in one direction or another, trying to push back. But if I remember correctly, in a fairly recent time frame, you stated about criminals, the Charlotte train incident, illegals, that you have to send a message. Well, unless people get a message, their behavior will not change.
Well, but
Correct.
the message being don't murder other human beings, right? That's a far cry from don't be a jerk to the kid and his dad at a baseball game. And the punishment is rather obviously you send the message that you enforce the law. What we're enforcing, Red, is unspoken societal rules and norms, which admittedly she violated, and she violated in a major way. And her punishment is to be plastered all over the internet. That extra step, however, of trying to figure it out. There was some poor woman in, I think it was New Jersey, that was wrongly identified as being her. There was some rumor that she worked for a school district. Both had to deny that they had any idea. That is what I think goes just a tad too far.